everybody. Welcome to Fact Check TV. My name is Jordan Ellis, and I am the COO as well as the co-founder of the Doc Ellis Foundation. We would like to first take this opportunity to welcome you all back to Fact Check TV. Come on in and take a seat, and let's get this show started. Again, as I said, my name is Jordan Ellis. For all of our old followers, we'd like to first welcome you back and thank you so much for believing in us. And to our new followers, welcome, and we hope you stick around. Again, thank you for coming to Fact Check TV. I'm going to take a moment and let the ladies go around the room and introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Lee. I am the CEO and founder of the Doc Ellis Foundation and Fact Check TV. We're back.
Hi, I'm Tanya. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer. Nice to see you all again.
Hi, everybody. I'm Desiree. I'm new. I'm the Chief Innovative Officer here with Fact TV and the Doc Ellis Foundation.
And again, I am Jordan, and most of you know me as Mama J. Let me just give you a little update. Since Jasmine and I have taken a break, we've been busy with some other work, as I said, with the Doc Ellis Foundation. The Doc Ellis Foundation is a nonprofit organization that we have started. It's a foundation that is striving to empower minority victims of human trafficking, domestic violence, and families of missing persons. Matter of fact, speaking of missing persons, we have a beautiful young lady who will be joining us tonight on the panel to share her story with us in regards to her beautiful sister, who is today a missing person. Again, like I said, since we've been away, we have started something new, and that would be the Doc Ellis Foundation. As you can see, scrolling across the bottom of your screen, we also have our 800 number that you can call during the show if you would like to ask our panelists, any questions in regards to tonight's topic. We do have a queue where your call will be answered. As you wait in queue, the calls will be answered according to when you did call. Ladies, is there anything that you would like to add at this time?
I don't. What I would like to do is play a brief little snippet to introduce our guest, Michele. Michele, would you like to tell them a little bit about yourself before we play the snippet?
Sure. My name is Michele McCown Luster. My sister has been missing for 21 years. I am one of her biggest advocates. I have also advocated outside of looking for my sister. So I plan to tell her story, and hopefully this helps get some answers or some leads.
Absolutely. And thank you for being here.
Thank you,
everybody,
Michele.
stay with us, and we will be right back.
I feel lost without her. It's just not the same.
From birth, the two inseparable.
Oh, that's Bert and Ernie right there.
Until that fateful day on July 22nd, 2001. Niqui went to wash some clothes at a laundromat in Richmond, Indiana, but never came home.
Hi, my name is Michele McCown Luster. This is my sister, Marilyn Renee McCown. She became an endangered missing person on July 22nd, 2001. 21 years has passed, and we still have not located Niqui. Niqui came up missing while doing her laundry, and we still have not located her yet. On February 3rd, 2010, a person of interest who was indicted for another woman's murder committed suicide. And we're hoping that maybe he told someone or someone out there knows something. If he is involved in her disappearance, or if he's not involved in her disappearance, we just hope that someone comes forth with the information so we can bring Niqui home and justice can be served. I thank you for your time. Have a good day.
So we're back. So, Michele, can you, I know that you've done a large amount of interviews, and I know that you have been bringing awareness to your sister's disappearance. Can you just fill in the audience on the situation, first of all, how the story happened or the day that she started missing, and then we'll kind of go into what you guys have been doing from then.
Okay. On July the 22nd, 2001, Niqui went to wash clothes. And while she was washing clothes, she left for a minute. She went to a corner store to get change or to pay for gas because there's video of her going into the store. She then went to my mother's house. Mom said that she was pacing back and forth. She asked her what was wrong. She said that he just won't leave me alone. And she said, who, Niqui? And she said, some Hispanic guys. So my mom told her, if you're that concerned, go get your things, but I'm sure nothing's wrong. You're a very pretty woman. Maybe they're just flirting with you. She left, and we haven't seen her since.
Wow. So was there anything that was going on in the time that around that time as far as relationship wise, or somebody that she may have been dealing with that may have caused harm to her or kidnapped her or anything like that?
She was 3 weeks away from her wedding.
Got
So that day she went to wash clothes and her fiance went to take his groomsmen to be fitted for a tuxedo. There is currently a person of interest, and he, we found out a lot of interesting things about him. And I witnessed interesting thing that I wonder if that's what happened to her.
Really? So there was a eyewitness. Is that what you just said?
No, I witnessed one day I was going to my sister's house for lunch. This was maybe 2 or 3 years before she came up missing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to her house for lunch. I heard her screaming. So instead of knocking on her door, I just walked in. And she's sitting on a chair with her foot in a coworker's chest. He's about 6'5", 6'6".
Wow.
He's screaming. He's trying to rape me. And I said, get off my sister. Then he started chasing us around her apartment. And he laughed. And he said he was just playing. And he left.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
I asked Niqui, I said, what was that all about? Are you okay? She was like, don't worry about it. He said he was just playing. And I was worried about it because after it happened, I told my daughter's father came to pick me up, and I told him about it, and he worked with them also. And he said, I keep telling you to tell your sister to leave that guy alone. He says a lot of crazy things about your sister at work. And I told her, and she just kind of brushed it off. So,
Wow. So was
Michele,
that? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask Michele. Michele, do you feel in the 21 years that Niqui has been missing, do you feel that law enforcement has been um, the word I'm looking for, a great help to you all, you and the family, as far as trying to really figure out what did happen or what has happened to Niqui?
No, no, I don't, because Niqui came up missing on July the 22nd. I know you have to wait 48 to 72 hours. We waited about 2 or 3 weeks before they took us serious.
Wow.
Unfortunately, with her being a woman of color, they want to label women of color like they're prostitutes, they're this, they're that. But after they found out my sister's background, she worked at a prison. She was a CO at one time. Then she went up started working into the accounting department. She was a hostage negotiator.
Wow.
She
Wow.
wanted to be an FBI agent or a U.S. Marshal or a parole officer. She was taking up some criminal justice classes at the time of her disappearance. Niqui loved working in the criminal justice field.
Wow.
So after they figured out her background, all the thoughts that they had about her, since she was a woman of color, changed.
Right.
But they automatically judged her because of the area she was in. You know, it wasn't the best area, but that's where she would always wash her clothes. My sister lived down the street.
Right.
And they judged her. And then she was so close to her wedding, they automatically thought that she just ran off. But she had a 9-year-old daughter. She wouldn't just run off.
Correct.
Right.
And she really, really, really wanted to marry her best friend.
So it was almost as if she just vanished without a trace. I know that I've seen a couple of interviews that you guys did and a couple of shows that they have aired on Niqui, and I know that they said that her car was located. If you want to give a little bit of details to what it was that they did find in the process of looking for her around that time, but I definitely want to touch back on African American women missing and law enforcement, and of course, you know, what we all collectively can do to start bringing awareness to individuals who are missing, especially minority. But I definitely want to get the details of Niqui's situation and what was found, because, you know, we need to really practice see something, say something, even for people who around that time, you don't even realize that maybe you pulled up to the laundromat at the time.
Right.
It was something that kind of piqued your interest, or so, you know, if we talk about those details, maybe we can get somebody to refresh their memory and go, you know what, I remember something. So what was the evidence that they found around that time when they found her car?
Okay. The story I told you about walking in and witness what I witnessed, that got the detectives' ears open. So they started looking at an individual co-worker. So happened the day she came up missing, she talked to his girlfriend on the phone about hair and nail vitamins. She had Graves' disease and her hair was falling out, and it was close to her wedding, so she was wanting to make sure she looked perfect. Niqui was all about looking beautiful, you know. She loved herself. So that day she came up missing, she called her coworker and asked her about these vitamins. Well, when they found her truck, that was about a mile away from the coworker's house. The co-worker was at work, but her boyfriend, the other co-worker, the one that I walked into and seen him over my sister, he was at the house.
Hmm.
So when they found her vehicle,
Mm.
he became pretty much the main person of interest. They only found her laundry. It was folded. So you thinking if she was rushing, if someone was bothering her at the laundromat, would she take the time to fold her clothes?
Right.
Or would she just throw them in a basket?
Right.
Her door was ajar. Her radio was gone. And there was stuff scattered all over her vehicle. But there was no fingerprints. There was no blood. There was no anything like that.
Wow.
So we really can't find anything except her laundry.
Were
So
you
in
and your
20
siblings close?
Excuse me?
Were you and all of your siblings close, like close enough to know if something was wrong?
I would say so. I know me and Niqui were very, very close. The day she came up missing, I was thinking like, oh, well, she's so close to her wedding. Nikki's spontaneous. She's probably went out shopping for her wedding because I knew how bad she was trying to make her wedding so perfect.
Yeah.
And I just assumed that, everybody was thinking the worst, but I wanted to believe that she just was out shopping. It wasn't till the next day I stopped by her job and they buzzed me in and I said, did she show up yet? And they shook their head no. My heart fell to the floor.
Yeah.
I automatically knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
Niqui didn't miss work. She loved her job. She loved her coworkers. They were like a family. And when she wasn't there, I knew something was wrong. So I could feel that.
Yeah.
Other family members, there's 10 of us.
Wow.
And me,
Wow.
I'm the second to the youngest. Me and Niqui are a year and a half apart. So we did a lot. We spent a lot of time
Close.
together.
Yeah.
So I would say, yes, we all felt like something wasn't right.
Yeah.
So Michele, 21 years later and Niqui's still missing. How is her beautiful daughter doing today?
Her daughter, believe it or not, she's probably the strongest one out of our whole entire family.
Wow.
Wow.
She's married. She got married. She had her own child. She has a little girl herself. But through this all, she has kept us all on solid ground because there has been so many times that I was broke. I mean, broke.
I can only imagine.
Now, did
And
the detectives ever talk to her daughter?
yes.
Okay. Did she remember anything from the laundromat at all?
Well, she wasn't at the laundromat. Her mom had dropped her off at my mother's house before.
Okay.
She went to Niqui was at the laundromat by herself.
Got it.
So
So, just to kind of touch on, individuals that are missing and, being a minority and how they label them. That is one reason why the Doc Ellis Foundation or Fact Check TV actually decided to start the Doc Ellis Foundation. And like Jordis was saying earlier, Mama J, everybody knows her as Mama J. You know, we have dedicated ourselves to looking for missing minorities and victims of human trafficking. We hear these stories all the time, you know, and it's unfortunate that law enforcement feels that you have to be missing for 24 to 48 hours, you know, or that law enforcement questions the fact that, like you said, that's your sister. You know, you have siblings, you guys grew up together, you get that feeling, that emotion, that vibe that, you know, your loved one is missing, and that should be enough. Whether it's 5 minutes from them missing, 10 minutes from them missing, if I'm telling you that my loved one is missing, and the behavior, or, you know, the actions are abnormal, then right then and there you should start looking for my loved one. Because in 24 to 48 hours, I mean, let's think about it. We have the 48 hours that comes on, first 48 that comes on, and what do they say all the time? The most important hours, you know, the 24 to 48 hours. Right. So why do we have to wait so long to report our loved one missing? That's a big thing.
Right.
Well, I think Michele kind of answered that for us, because even just sitting sometime watching TV and breaking news and somebody's child comes up missing, and I've often wondered why you have certain individuals whose children come up missing and it automatically hits the news like right then. And then you have someone like Michele, sister Niqui, who comes up missing, and they want the family to wait, even though the family is telling them over and over again that this is not her normal behavior. I believe that when a family informs law enforcement that this is totally out of the individual's character, it is not their behavior, I just feel like they should go into action right then and begin looking for that individual. So that might be something, ladies, that all of us, including Michele, maybe could get together and work on, as far as having that law change.
Well, I think Michele, your parents had started that. If I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere, Michele, your family started a petition that would change the law to where you didn't have to wait so long, if I'm not mistaken, to report a missing person that's an adult, because she's an adult. So that was the actual issue, because they make you wait longer for an adult opposed to a child. So didn't your parents start on that?
Did my parents start on that?
Yes.
I know I myself started a petition.
Okay.
When my mom was alive, she did, with a group of ladies, try to change that. They went to the state of Indiana to try to get it changed. They did get partially changed in Indiana.
Okay.
But
good.
The nonprofit we was working with, they don't exist anymore. So, and my mom's passed on. A lot of them are older women that's done passed on, or so it would have to be something that, you know, that's why I have been focused on changing that, because like you said, when you watch First 48, they focus on that first 48.
Correct.
Right.
They do.
So if I'm coming up to you and telling you something ain't right,
something ain't right.
Right. I mean,
well, I think also, I'm sorry. I think also they have a preconceived notion that the fact that she was getting married, maybe she may have run away. And like you said, if it's out of her character, they should make a move right away. If you know, if everyone is saying, hey, this is not something that she does all the time or he does all the time,
let's
they
jump
should
on
step
it.
in.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When we originally started our show and we were discussing the Kenneka Jenkins situation, let's be very real. You don't have to wait 24 to 48 hours to report your missing loved one. The problem is law enforcement continues to tell people African Americans, minorities, that you need to wait 24 to 48 hours. And the reason they're doing that is because they're automatically bucketing our children and our men and women into this bucket of they're a runaway. They're, have any type of history of prostitution or criminal record or drug addiction, then they're automatically going, well, hold on, come back in 48 hours. Because right now, that doesn't look like that. That could be X, Y, and Z. But the reality is that you do not. And that's what we need to educate the minority community on, and mothers and fathers and siblings and whoever and children. You do not have to wait 24 hours to report your loved one missing. You can go to the police department and tell them, I need you to do a report right now. Now, I can't control what you do when you take that paper. If you decide not to look into it for 48 hours, 24 hours, but today, right now, I am reporting my loved one missing. And that was something we really pushed when we were dealing with the Kenneka Jenkins situation, when Teresa went to report Kenneka missing. Same type of situation. So I think it's very important that, one of my biggest things is, as the Doc Ellis Foundation, I always say it all the time, and, Desiree and Tanya and my mom, they all know, we don't want to be that organization that people are scared to come to. We don't want to be so untouchable that people can't pick up our phones and call us or reach out to us by way of email. Somebody reaches out to us regarding a missing person situation, we are right there. We are going to respond. We will even call the police department for you if that is what we have to do. If we have to go drive down to the police department and we have to make noise, then we are going to make noise, because that's the only way that we are going to, it's almost like we have to do our own Black Amber Alert. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, that is what really needs to be created. We're past the 24, 48. We already know what you should be doing right now. My loved one's missing. Now, the same way you have this Amber Alert, how do we get our family to be on that same type of alert? How do we get our family members on the news, the breaking news, the CNN, the MSNBC? How do we get our family and our loved ones there? That's the issue, is that it's the small little organizations like us who are trying to spin and repost, bring our loved one home, but it's the bigger people that are ignoring the call out. And how do we do that?
Because my sister's been missing for 21 years. I've worked with a lot of organizations. This is the first time I've ever felt like I'm speaking to someone that actually cares about
we care.
We care.
The last organization I worked with, she kept telling me she was going to get a private investigator. I was advocate for them. I kept sending out all these flyers of these Caucasian women. And I was getting frustrated. So I asked her, 2 years had went by. When will you get this private investigator for my sister? And it never happened.
Wow.
So I stopped dealing with them.
Wow.
But it's stuff like that, and also even the community. Our communities need to get involved.
Yes.
And they're scared because they don't deal with the police, and they just don't want to they might make somebody mad if they tell something or whatever. So they don't say anything. But like with my sister, someone had to see something. So why are we still waiting 21 years? So the community definitely does need to get involved. But you nonprofits are what carries us families through, because it sure ain't the police. Not when you look like me. Now, if you're a Caucasian woman, you might be able, like Gabby Petito, she was found in 3 weeks. Okay. I've been waiting 21 years for them to find my sister.
21.
5 agencies helped find this girl.
It's important for everyone to know that from the Doc Ellis Foundation, we want to advocate with you all. You know, we want to be out with you all in our community, helping to find everyone, you know, helping to find these missing persons. And like Jasmine said, we want to advocate at the police station. We want to advocate by putting out flyers, searches, everything for our community. And that's one of our biggest goals as far as missing persons are concerned. So we're definitely there. We definitely have you back.
That's what
and
the
one
families
thing,
need. We need
one thing I can tell you about Fact Check TV, when we put our heels into it, we put our heels into it. And we take everything serious, even down to the whole private investigative thing. When we worked on the other young lady's case, and we would let everybody know, we're not here for conspiracy theories. We're not here for your
assumptions.
Correct. Your assumptions and all of this. We're here to help this family find their loved one.
That's correct.
And the only way we can do that is if we are taking things and looking at them from a serious perspective. You know, as far, I mean, Jasmine goes as far as filing and receiving the documents to see exactly what was said in the police reports. Because all of that plays a part in what did happen to Niqui. Because for all we know, there could be something very minute and small in a police report that could be the very thing that tells us what happened, where she is, who was really behind, you know, Niqui's disappearance.
Well, the difference is, and you know, as a nonprofit, we are not here to bash law enforcement. We are not here to bash anybody, but you have to call a spade because that's the only way that you're going to come to a resolution. The problem is that when it is not a minority, law enforcement works very close with the families. So when something's wrong, the family gets to go, wait a minute, that might be a clue right there. Or, you know, that's not the color that she had on, or no, that's not where she was, or no, she doesn't. When it is minority, what we tend to see is that those families are constantly reaching out to the detectives involved to get an update, or, you know, hey, are you still working on the case? And that happens to us even as, you know, I wish we had a magic stick. We don't. But when we're looking for cases and we're working with the families, it has happened to us where detectives have kind of tried to swerve us, like, well, you know, give us a call back, or the detective is not on duty, or whatever the case may be. But guess what? I know that you have a point of contact. So while you're out, who's the next person that's looking into this situation? Because you can't
I can talk to, because I'm going to.
Yeah, evidence doesn't have a day off. You know, it's like, like, not the way it works. So, you know, we request the
FOIA.
Correct. We, you know, reach out to the police departments, the detectives. We try to work close with them. We will continue to push the story to make sure that, you know, the unfortunate part, let's just be real here, ladies. Okay, let's be real here. We live in a time where the newest hip hop videos, the rapper that's dating the X, Y, and Z, those are the things that trend, and those are the things that go popular, and those are the things that everybody's paying attention to right now. And, you know, me, Desiree, Tanya, and my mother, we talk all the time. And what we're trying to do with the Doc Ellis Foundation is recreate or rebrand what those nonprofits look like, where we are, first of all, we're boots on the ground. There's never going to be a time that you're just going to see us thumping a computer and texting, and you're never going to see us in person. We will fly wherever it is that we need to go. We're there. Desiree loves to fly. But we will be there. But we have to retrain our community. And we have to teach our community what's important. And it brings me to human trafficking. It's almost like human trafficking, and what we discuss amongst ourselves plenty times is that what we have noticed is even with human trafficking, it looks different for our community. Like,
Right.
different. Like, our girls are out there prostituting, and that's how they make their money. And they're not understanding that when it turns to force, it's no longer willing. You are now in that human trafficking bracket. And our community,
Yeah.
our girls and our guys are not understanding that. And we have to retrain our community, and we have to retrain our girls on how to stay safe, what it looks like, what should you be looking for. That's the first piece.
Right.
Well,
That's
I was going to tell Michelle that I went back. I told Jasmine and them the other day, I said, I'm going to go back and watch Niqi's story. I watched it like 4 times, but I watched it being told on different channels. And out of everything that I saw, the thing that's just, I don't know why it stayed with me, and it just left an eerie feeling with me. And you brought it up a minute ago, Michelle, the whole laundry thing, because that said to me that, number one, I believe somebody possibly did see something. And number two, for her laundry to be so neatly still in the back of her car, it was almost like it was someone that possibly knew her.
Right.
That she wasn't in a panic, in a rush, trying to break free or get away. And, because when you go back and you think about it and you place yourself or try to place yourself in Niqi's scenario that evening, had it been us, what would we have done? I probably would have left my laundry there, took off running, tried to get help. And like you said, but for them to find her laundry still so neatly folded and placed in the back seat of her car, that was what it just like stood out to me. It's like, what is it about that laundry? That laundry knows something that nobody else has found yet. That laundry is talking and nobody is listening.
Right.
And that was just the way I felt about it.
She was a trained negotiator, hostage negotiator.
Right.
Yes.
She could have gotten herself out of any situation talking. This is what she's trained to do. It's no way that if it's somebody sitting next to me, I'm not going to instantly get in work mode to where I am. I'm trained to talk people off the ledge. I'm trained to get myself out of things. I'm trained to get other people out of things. No, that means that you're sitting side by side next to or around someone that you know and you're comfortable with, because there's no need to use your skills.
Right.
This is a trained hostage negotiator. This is right up her alley.
Yeah. And speaking of that laundromat, was there any cameras there at all at the laundromat?
They weren't on at the time she was there.
Oh,
wow.
The only video we have is her going into that convenience store down the street, and she walked straight up to the counter. And so it's like she might have been getting changed or something for it to go back, finish her clothes.
She was doing what?
She just walked straight up to the counter and she didn't buy anything.
Yeah.
I'm doing
Wow.
So maybe she was paying for gas, or I don't know what she was doing, but it doesn't show her going throughout the store. She just goes right up to the counter.
Notice her face in that. Did you ever watch
That's
the video?
very interesting.
Yeah.
What is your ultimate goal of all the work that you've put in thus far?
Well, my ultimate goal is to find Niqui.
Of course.
Right.
I'm not giving up. I don't care if it's been 50 years. They gonna know Niqui McCown. They gonna hear her name all the time. I believe that the police dropped the ball. I mean, why did they wait 2 or 3 weeks before they was out physically searching? They said they did, a bolo for the vehicle and stuff like that. But why wait so long?
Yeah.
Why wait 2 to 3 weeks to call hundreds of people to come and search around her apartment and stuff?
Wow.
I mean, 2 to 3 weeks. Come on.
Yeah.
They should have did that right away when we told them this is not like Niqui. She had Graves' disease. She left her medicine. She didn't take no clothes other than the laundry she was washing, no purse, no anything.
Wow.
Come on.
Yeah.
And 21 years ago, were we dealing with cell phones yet?
She didn't
Not
have
really.
a cell phone. She did have a pager, but the pager was for work only.
Okay.
So
Wow.
the pager did go off. She left it at home, and someone did try to call, leave her phone number on. I don't know what the police did with that, but it did go off.
So the person of interest, I don't know how to ask this question. Where is this individual? Is this individual still around? No. Got it.
He committed suicide. He was indicted for another woman's murder.
Oh, wow.
17 years prior to Niqui.
Wow.
And when they went to arrest him, the only reason why they had the DNA to test was because he tried to sue the Richmond Police Department and myself.
Really?
For said we was messing up his character, his name, and all. He just said a lot of stuff. But he lost the lawsuit, and he couldn't get a job. As soon as I found out this is the killer, I got a phone call telling me that he just had got hired for a police department down here in Dayton, Ohio.
Mm-hmm. I saw that. And
soon as I got that phone call, I called the detective and I said, hold on, wait a minute. He's a person of interest in my sister's disappearance. How is he working for a police department? Of all things. So he was like, what? He made a couple phone calls. The next day he called me and said, he's resigning. So then Mr. Swint moved to Alabama, and when he was indicted for the other lady's murder, when they was walking up to his door, he committed suicide.
Wow.
And your sister knew him.
Yeah, my sister was very close friends with him. He had an attraction to her. I believe my sister looked at him as a big brother. There's been a lot of back and forth about what their relationship really was. I know that my sister was close to him. They were really close friends. Do I think that she was fooling around with him? No, absolutely not. Do I think he wanted to fool around with her? Yes, absolutely.
Correct.
So.
And you said 17 years prior to Niqui coming up missing, he had committed a homicide?
Yes, he was a pimp. Yeah. He was dating this woman, and she was one of his prostitutes. And they found her body.
Wow.
And it took them 17 years to solve it. And the only reason why they did is because the Richmond Police Department had his DNA.
Wow.
And so when we found out that there was an indictment, that brought so much joy to us and the Richmond Police Department, because we just knew we were going to finally find Niqui. We were going to be able to question him and find out what happened. And he committed suicide. So the question is, has he told anyone, or is anyone else involved? If he did it, He's just
And
a
I did
person.
see one where there was a detective who said that she actually believed that there were individuals who knew more about him being involved.
Yeah, one of them was the other coworker that my sister spoke to that day. That was his girlfriend. He had a girlfriend, a wife, and a whole bunch of other women in his life. This man was all over the place. And
So if there was one thing that you could say to the community, the young girls, the families of people who are missing, what would you say to them? What would be, if you had a message, because I know that you are a very strong advocate for individuals that are missing. I see it all the time on your social medias. So I know that is a very big passion of yours. And if you had anything to say, what would that be?
well, to the young girls that are on social media and they're meeting up with guys and they're doing this and doing that, I would tell them, don't do that at all. You do not meet a guy at a park or something, just you and him by yourself or whatever. Don't do that. That's how a lot of these girls are trafficked.
Yeah.
Because they're meeting up with these people on these social media sites.
Yeah.
I would just tell the community to really get involved. If someone is missing and you've seen something, and you might think it's the smallest thing in the world, like, oh, I seen her turn left. That might make a big difference.
Absolutely. 100%.
So whatever you've seen, just speak up. You know, you can save somebody's life or you can bring someone's child home. So just get involved somehow. And then with the families, when they have their little candle lights or balloon release or whatever, just get involved. Let them feel the warmth of you being right there, because I seen that pain in my daddy's eyes. My dad, I never seen my dad cry. And that first year, I see my daddy on his knees crying for his baby. I seen my mom screaming out all the time, just screaming, my baby. I mean, we just be driving down the street and just screaming out. And my niece hated to hear the word mother, and she still does.
Wow.
She hates Mother's Day, and she's now a mother.
Yeah.
That pain of not knowing is totally different from knowing.
Yes.
Because you got hope that you're going to find them, but you never do.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So just be there for the family.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing too, is that I think that
that got me a little teary-eyed.
I think that sometimes our young girls and guys, because surprisingly, for those who are not aware of the statistics and what's going on in our community, it's actually a lot more African American men that come up missing. So, our guys and our girls, I think that sometimes we think that we are exempt. Or we have the streets figured out, or our friends would never do that, or just whatever it is that they're thinking in their mind. I think that sometimes we walk away feeling that we are exempt and that cannot happen to us. Or I just think about times when, we were younger. I'm not going to say how old I am, but when we were younger and, me and Desiree, we're cousins. And there were times that I think it's just always been something that's kind of been involved in us, that if we were going out somewhere or we were going somewhere and we were going to go in opposite directions, it was like, turn your location on. What's the license plate number? Like, we were doing things like that when we were younger and we were going out to hang out.
15, 16.
Yeah, like, take a picture of the license plate number and send me the license plate, anything. And I think that our young girls and our young guys feel that they are so
exempt.
Yeah.
And
I would like to say something. My sister's been missing 21 years. For 20 years, my family has always wondered about her fiance. What part did he play in this?
Yeah.
Because of things that he was doing in the beginning.
Yeah.
It wasn't until here recently that the detectives told us he had nothing to do with it, that it was the co-worker they believe had something to do with her disappearance. Unfortunately, my sister's fiance passed away last year.
Oh, wow.
So it's a sad love story. But my family had so many questions for this man, and we did put a lot of stress, I'm sure, on him, wondering if he had parts in my sister's disappearance.
Wow.
Right.
Gosh.
And then I hear that her fiance had a heart attack.
Wow.
I didn't get the opportunity to tell him, I'm sorry that my family put you through this. I'm sorry. Why didn't the police tell us that this was their focus? Why did they have us questioning him and others? I mean, I done had like 20 people of interest in my brain that I wondered if they played a part in something. So I'm sitting here pointing fingers at people, and the police is looking at one individual, and they don't tell us until just a few months ago.
Wow.
Why did they? I mean, you got his family not liking Niqi's family, and it's understandable. Correct. Especially if he had nothing to do with it.
Right.
But they got to understand where we was coming from.
Right.
She's missing. We don't know what happened to her, and he did a lot of strange things in the beginning that put those questions in our heads.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that it's natural that if you don't have answers, if my loved one comes up missing, everybody is suspect.
Exactly.
I wouldn't expect anything any different from your family.
But I think a lot of times in cases like this, the police or law enforcement, they don't realize when they think they're helping and they're causing more harm. Because like Michelle said, for 20 plus years, they in their heads, and I think any one of us, I would have felt the same about you, Jasmine. Your fiance probably would have been one of the first individuals I would have questioned, but it's only human nature. But at the same time, he deserved the right, and Michelle and the family, they deserve the right to know that we've questioned him, and for whatever reason, we don't feel like he had anything to do with Niqi's disappearance. This is where we're going to keep our main focus, because I even saw when I did watch one of the shows where he was saying how devastating it was for him, because the family was looking at him, and he really couldn't just get free to just sit down and talk to them and just tell them that I really didn't do this. I love Niqui.
There's only one person in my family that did not treat him some type of way, and that was Niqi's daughter.
I knew you were going to
Wow.
She looked at him like a stepfather. In her eyes, he was a stepfather, and she showed him nothing but respect.
I knew you were going to
Wow.
So that was the only person that showed him any kind of attention. My focus was finding my sister. So I was very negative towards him. Like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? I want to know where my sister is. You know, and the police told us, you know, everybody we spoke to a person of interest till we find out. That includes family.
Right.
You know, they had me down there asking me questions. So I probably was a person of interest. My mom was down there. My dad was down there. My brother, sister, we all was down there.
Everybody,
their eye is on everybody till they figure it out. And why it took them 21 years to tell us that Mr. Swit was their main focus is beyond me, because when I found out that he passed away and how my family treated him, that really broke my heart, because I really did have hope for him and my sister. They had a love story like no other. I mean, they separated for 7 years. Then he comes back. She breaks up with her baby daddy, and they get together. And they were together for 3 years until she came up missing.
Well, he did say it was a fairy tale relationship. He said that.
And you know what? It should be another law to where they have to keep the family in the loop. Like, I wonder if that is something that can even be changed, because even with taking so long with starting the investigation and taking you guys serious, at the same time keeping you guys in the loop, keeping you informed, like that should be a whole nother law in itself, because that puts you at ease. You guys are able to meet and swap information. You could have fixed things with her.
I feel like I'm the detective, because I'm getting
I hear that
talking
a lot.
to me. I mean, his baby, Mr. Swint's baby mama, this person, that person. I'm getting all these people talking to me, and I'm giving the information to the detective. And by the time I give it to her, she's like, that's secondhand information. They got to talk to me. And then some of them don't want to talk to the police. They want to talk to the family. So,
And let me tell you the way it's supposed to work. Now, I don't know about 20 years ago. However, so that everybody's aware of how that works now, is when you have a situation where you have a loved one missing or your loved one passes away, etc., you're supposed to be assigned what is called a victim advocate. That victim advocate is who plays the middle person between the family and law enforcement, because the reality of it is law enforcement's job is to investigate. It's almost like with domestic violence, or I've had experience working in a safe house before, and the reality of it is law enforcement is not trained to work with the victims. So they come up very dry and very harsh, because that's not their thing. Their thing is to go out and find the perpetrator or the suspect. The victim advocate is that individual who is supposed to obtain all that information for you. They're supposed to talk to you every day. You're supposed to be able to call them whenever you want to, and they're supposed to be available. And that's the way that works. But again, it goes back to, and I'm not speaking for back then, because I don't know.
Yeah, because we've never got anything like that. I mean, we've had 2 detectives on this case. The first detective, he started 3 weeks into her disappearance, and my family built a relationship with him. He was really trying very hard. I can say that. We built a relationship with him. Then he retired, and another young lady took over, and she just retired. But it has been very, very hard to get her to tell us anything. She was telling us bits and pieces. She's the one that told us that, that she didn't believe the fiance had anything to do with it, and their focus was mainly on Mr. Swint. And me and my sister at the time, when she told us that, we was really, really hurt because we felt like, okay, this young man has passed away, and he passed away thinking, everybody thinking he had something to do with a missing woman being missing. He had no relationships. He couldn't hold a relationship. All the women that came in and out of his life wonder if he did something to his fiance.
Yeah.
So he never was able to fall in love again.
Wow.
So we do have,
ladies, there's someone that's a question.
We do have some questions that are popping up in the chat. Zaid Holiday is asking, what was the result of that investigation? Zaid, are you asking what? So give us a little bit more details to your question. We definitely love to answer and make sure that everybody understands this case, so that we need everybody to share, like, subscribe. Please share, like, subscribe the story right now. All us sitting here on this panel by ourselves talking about this story is not what brings awareness. What brings awareness is everybody sharing, liking, and subscribing. Zaid said, so what was the results of the investigation from the previous boyfriend?
From her fiance or her daughter's father? Because they both were cleared.
Correct.
Now their main focus is right now is on Mr. Swit, and he killed himself.
So I have a question. Well, I was gonna say, are you guys, I won't say 100%, but I guess that's the best way for me to put it. Are you guys 100% confident that it's the individual who committed suicide that could have been involved, or do you guys think that there may be, or there's a possibility that it could be somebody else out there?
After learning certain things, especially within the last year, I'm probably 90% there that it was him. I still got that little 10% that wonders if they're focused only on him because he would fit to be the right person because he's already killed someone and they think he's a serial killer.
Wow.
So he would fit what they're looking for. So devil's advocate thinking like maybe it wasn't him. What happened? Are they looking at other places, or are they just focused on him? And if they are, why haven't they told my family why they are so for sure it was him? Because I don't think that's right to carry us through 21 years wondering. I mean, I've lost so many different relationships with people because I wonder if they had anything to do with my sister being missing.
Well,
so I don't speak. I look at them crazy, because I don't know.
Yeah.
So if you knew all this time that you think is him, why put us through that? We already grieving because she's missing and in a lot of pain. Why are you adding more pain to us? It don't make any sense.
As I was saying earlier, and this is back to Fact Check TV as well as the organization, again, I will reiterate that Jasmine and Tanya and I, because we were the three that worked diligently on the Kanika Jenkins case. And one of the things that we learned is because of the way we were able to send off and get access to a lot of documents and things, witnesses that were being interviewed, that her mother had no clue. because if the police and the investigators, they're not going to inform the family that they can write off and they can get the documents. They can know in the report who everyone that was questioned in regards to her disappearance, when they were questioned. You know, they don't let the family know. This information is available to you in case you want to go ahead and do your own investigating. And maybe you will find or learn something that we were not able to obtain. You know, it could be one simple person. Like Michelle said, you know, looking up somebody's head, and that very person that's head she's looking upside might be looking at Michelle thinking, I really want to tell Michelle, but maybe I shouldn't open my mouth and say anything.
Well, this is what I would like to offer. The Doc Ellis Foundation, one of our biggest goals right now is to bring on an investigator to be a part of our team. So my question to you is, as of today, the case is still open, or have they closed it? Okay.
It's open. It's open.
Because what it sounds like to me is they have slowed the process down because they believe that the individual who did it is deceased.
Pretty much.
So because of that, it's like, we'll keep it open because they can't be for sure, but there's really no other work for them to do per se, because he is deceased and they feel that he is the individual who played a part in it. So what the Doc Ellis Foundation, in fact, check TB, because we're all in one, would like to do is, when we are able to obtain that private investigator on our team, we would love to be able to offer the services to be able to see if we are able to pull some of that information from the case, because we wouldn't be able, until they close that case, we wouldn't be able to receive the FOIA information because it's open. That's another thing that, you know, understanding the law and how it works,
the lingo.
By them keeping that case open, it stops people from being able to obtain certain information, because the kickback is, well, it's still under investigation and we don't want to tamper with it. Right. But we're going to make noise, because whether it's 20 years, 2 minutes, 2 weeks, 2 days, everybody deserves to have an answer to their missing loved one. Everybody deserves to have information. Everybody deserves to be able to have a detective on the case who is going to keep you up to date and communicate. My personal opinion is, I know that if I had a loved one that was missing, I would call them every day, but I want you to be to the punch so that I can feel that you're invested. We should be calling each other at the same time. And when one of us answers, we go, you know what? I was just thinking about calling you. Actually, I was just thinking about calling you. That's the way it should really work. And you know, the unfortunate
I was calling for everything. Anytime somebody would contact me, I was calling them, texting them. You know, the detective did give me her regular cell phone, so I was texting her, screenshotting, you know, on Messenger, sending it to her. But it don't seem like, at least on my end, now she might have been doing something different on her behind her scene. She can't tell me everything. It's an open investigation. But it did seem like that she was, you know, really working like I wanted her to, because this is my sister. This is just her job.
Right.
So I'm feeling different about it. I'm like, okay, well, you know, if this was your loved one, what would you be doing? So it's different. But she didn't seem very passionate about it. She just seemed like, well, okay. But the detective before her, he seemed very it's like he said that he got to know Niqui through investigating her disappearance. And that was a must. That was a must for him to find her. And he did everything, and he kept getting all these different roadblocks, you know. But when he retired, that broke our heart, because we felt like that he would probably be the one to find her. But then new eyes came and we got hopeful. Okay, so new eyes come. Maybe she'll see something that he skipped by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did at the end. She did do a little bit more, probably the last 3 or 4 weeks before she retired. But now we're back to wondering who's even. I mean, when will they put someone back on her case? It's just sitting there. It's still open. But there's when we find out stuff, we have nobody to call except to the police.
Now, I have a question. I know that there have been some interviews that you've done to bring awareness to the situation, to bring awareness to the story. How did you go about getting her story on national TV? Did you have to reach out to them? Did they reach out to you to be able to bring awareness to the situation?
The last one we did just a couple weeks ago, I think it was maybe a week or so ago. We actually did it in April, but it just aired a couple weeks ago. But they reached out to us.
Okay.
But the rest of them, I reached out to them.
Got it.
I would send, fill out the form and say her story. And if I had to do it 10 times in one day,
yeah,
I was doing it. I did. I never stopped. I mean, I was like, okay, I see all these different stories on CNN, MSNBC and stuff, but I don't ever see no one that looks like my sister on there.
Yeah.
And so I just pressed it. You got to sell the story because it's just a story to them.
Yeah.
So you got to make them be interested in it, and that's what I did. I stayed focused on it.
But just think how heartbreaking that is. You have to sell the story in order for someone to stop and listen to you
about your loved one.
Talk about your loved one who just vanished and disappeared.
And I had a reporter tell me that. She pulled me to the side and she said, if you want your sister on these big media channels, you got to sell that story to them. Make it as interested as you can. Exaggerate it. Make it big. Because that's what's going to get their eye. And that's what we did. Majority of the time it was me.
We have over 65,000 African American women missing right now.
Been missing.
65,000 more. Okay. That's just what they dealt. The 65,000 women that are missing are just the women that they label missing.
Missing.
Right.
Does not include the ones that are missing that they have labeled as a runaway.
Yeah.
They just decided to leave. There was a text message that showed that said they no longer wanted to be here anymore. That does not include the family of the ones who are not labeled as missing. We do have somebody calling in right now. Give me just a moment.
Oh, we have a caller.
Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello?
Yes. Do you have a question?
I just have a comment. I just think it's very sad that someone would tell you that you have to exaggerate and embellish and make up something to, be able to put your story out there.
I have to agree.
Your sister's been missing for 21 years. How much bigger does it have to get?
Yeah.
The truth is the truth.
Yeah.
And that's what.
Did it freeze?
I think, did it?
Don't hear nothing.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
Can you hear it now?
God bless you.
Yeah.
Okay. The caller has left the line. If you guys were not able to hear the caller, what the caller basically was saying is that is absolutely, it's absolutely ridiculous that you have to exaggerate the story.
Unfortunately, that's the way it is when you look like us. Because they're not going to pay attention to. I mean, I don't know how much clearer to be. It's just everything is different for Caucasian people. I don't know how to say it more clear, but I've lived this life for 21 years, and I have felt over and over again that my sister was overlooked just because she was a Black woman.
She was.
Yeah.
And I want to find her, so I'm going to do whatever I have to. My family was doing all kinds of stuff that they shouldn't have been doing in the beginning, breaking in houses. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
And the police was getting mad and stuff like that, but we wanted to find her. That was our main focus. Y'all taking too long.
Right.
So were you all breaking into houses and stuff off for tips that you all got? Or okay.
Yeah, somebody would tell us, well, we seen her in that house. My brothers and them would bandit house, we'd go inside it.
Yeah. Well, you know, and what's really sad is that, you know, it's like with our Facebook page, and you know, when we're sharing the stories about individuals that are missing, and sometimes when we put the statistics out there, the response that we receive, it's not often, because what I will say is we have a lot of supporters who, you know, are not minority, and they understand that there is a big difference, and they understand that gap. But every now and then you will get the one or two individuals who will go, well, your organization is the one who's causing the division. Oh, I'm sorry, Desiree. Hold on. Your organization is causing the division, or, you know, why do you have to add race? And let me be clear, and please, somebody on the Doculas Foundation panel, help me if I'm not explaining this correctly. By no means are we sitting here saying that somebody who is not minority's life doesn't matter. Not what I'm saying.
At all. Not
but
at
in
all.
order to be very real about what's going on and to really get the point across, people have to understand there's a huge difference.
It really is.
If little Sarah over here goes missing, the world is crying. The hashtags are blasted. It's all over TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, CNN, MSNBC. You turn the TV on, it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. The Amber Alert is going off on my phone. But when I go to the national missing organizations to look for the little girls that are missing for today, there's not even a picture on there of her sometimes. So how am I supposed to know who she is? What am I looking for? How am I? Okay, so Keisha's missing from Alabama, and she went missing on X, Y, and Z day to X, Y, and Z time, but there's no description. There's nothing for me to go back to figure out, well, what really happened to her, and that's the difference. And people tend to think that we're not trying to build division. We're not trying to, you know, say, well, their life shouldn't matter, ours should matter more. All we want is the same attention. We want the same attention. We want the same representation from law enforcement, from the media, from the people. But it also starts with our people. Like we have to care. We have to pay attention to what's going on. And we have to be very real about our own culture and our own community. Again, and I keep going back to it because I'm going to keep poking the bear. The reality of it is we can post right now that somebody is missing, and you might get 4 or 5 people to reshare it.
You got that right.
But if I go post something about Kanye
or the Kardashians
15, 20 times. And we have to be very honest about what's going on here. So it's about teaching law enforcement. It's about understanding that it should not. That is what we should be saying. Not that there is a difference between a Caucasian and an African American and the minority and the other people. It's more about the fact that race should not matter.
It shouldn't.
It should not. We should all get the same attention. Look at the little girl who just went missing a few weeks ago. She was leaving the party, and I posted something on our Facebook page in regards to a minority couple that was missing. And somebody came on and left a comment and said, well, there's more to this story. There's probably some foul play. And they were talking about as far as the couple probably hurting themselves or something like that. And I reposted it. I commented back and said, but they should all get the same attention. Everybody should get the same attention, no matter what the situation is. Come to find out, the little girl left the party and her car was found in the water by where the party was at. But her story got so much attention. Like, it was the trending story. And right now, just last night, we posted something about a little girl who's missing in Las Vegas, who's a minority.
And it didn't get in the same. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, not cutting Jasmine off, but I was going to bring that up. Jasmine and I are on the phone last night. We're talking about Michele and Michele being on the panel and our hearts going out. And I'm telling Jasmine, the story just messed me up emotionally. I told all of you guys that, how Niqi's story just messed me up. But I get this breaking news on my phone. Beautiful little minority girl right here in North Las Vegas, right up the street from me. She went missing last Friday, but the police decided not to make it public or known until yesterday. So her mom and dad are sitting here saying, so from last Friday, and here we are at Friday again, there's no telling where that baby is. You know what I'm saying? There's no telling. And you mean to tell me that you all didn't think, and she's only 15 years old, you didn't think it was important to set off an Amber Alert or anything? So I'm understanding everything that Michele is saying, and it's making even more sense because it is. It's like, we're going to listen to them. We're going to take down some notes, like we're taking this report. But then when we get back across town, it sits on our desk. Right. And 9 times out of 10, they're really not even working on the case until Michele or some family member picks up the phone and calls and shakes them up. And now, now we have to act like we're doing, we're looking into this. We're working on this case. Because even like what Jasmine said a minute ago about the fact that we can't go any further if we wanted to investigate because it's still an open case. But why is it still an open case? Is it, number one, still an open case because you're truly looking to find out where Niqui is and what happened to Niqui? Or is it an open case because that's your way of keeping Niqi's family from being able to get information that might lead them in a whole nother direction?
Because what was your family? Sorry, Auntie. What was your family and friends doing prior to the police taking you guys serious, Michele? How did you guys even handle? Because I'm be honest, if I go to the police and 2 and 3 weeks pass, I would be door to door. I wouldn't even know how.
That's what we were doing. We were door to door, driving up and down the highway, calling hospitals, homeless shelters, whatever we had to do.
Wow.
And even when I went back and looked at Niqi's picture, and I kept looking at rewinding the TV so I could go back and see certain pictures of her. And I'm looking at her like, this is not a young lady that's just going to walk off with some stranger. Right. This is not a young lady that's not going to put up a fight if somebody's trying to hurt her or take her against her will. This is a young lady that was drawn away by somebody that she knew and she trusted. But the question
I do have a theory what I think may have happened. And it's just a theory.
Okay.
Well, run us that theory. We want to
Run
know.
that theory.
Please.
I think my sister drove to Dayton, Ohio. She was looking for those hair and nail vitamins, knowing how much my sister's hair meant to her. I mean, she was at the hairdresser twice a week. Her hair was getting done. And with her having Graves' disease, she was losing some of it. So the vitamins were very important for her to take.
Yeah.
So I think she drove over there. I think that she talked to that co-worker and she told her where to get the vitamins over there in Dayton. I think when she went to the place, she told her they didn't have them there. She called her and she said, I got some at home. Go by and get them at my house. When she went to her house, Mr. Swint was there. I believe he tried the same thing on her as he did the day I walked into her house. But this time nobody was walking in to stop it.
Yep.
Right.
I believe my sister fought back knowing her. And after that, he did something to her.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe. If he's involved in it, I believe that she's probably no longer with us. But I do believe that she went there to get those hair and nail vitamins.
Now, the apartment that she went to, this was a young lady that was also a co-worker of hers. So
Yes.
see, even that. And we all know that, and Niqui probably knew better than any of us because she worked in the culture. We have to also understand there is a code of ethics and a culture within law enforcement.
Oh yes, that blue line.
See, no, here, no.
Yeah,
Even though we weren't buddy with him, he was still one of ours.
Cover him.
Well, and let me tell you something. Domestic violence runs high in the police
department. Absolutely.
And you know that
yes.
You think we know the blue line didn't just start. You know,
right.
That blue line been running, and that blue line is thick. And you know, touche to them. Touche. If you want to have your blue line, have your blue line. But
he used to work as a security guard at a grocery store, and every night I got off of work, I would go put a flyer up of my sister in this grocery store. And he would take it down. The minute I left, he would take it down. And I know he was doing it because I knew somebody that worked there, and they would say, Michelle, every time you put this flyer in here, he comes down and takes it down. Why was he taking it down? Why if this is your best buddy friend and you want to help us find her, why are you taking her flyer down?
Yeah.
Wow. And was your car found in the area of where the apartment where the pills were, the hair and nail pills? Was her car located in that area at all?
A mile away. She lived in Nikki's car was parked at an apartment complex she once lived at. This lady, this co-worker, and Mr. Swint lived a mile away in a house.
Wow.
It was not even a full mile. It was like 0.8 of a mile, something like that. It was just right down the street. So,
and you cannot tell me that young lady, regardless to whether she was home or not when Niqui went to her apartment, you still become an interest to the police. They still need to question you because you sent her there. You gave her direction to go to your home and pick something up. Number 2, you live there. And number 3, one of the individuals that we suspect could possibly have something to do with her disappearance lives with you.
Yeah.
But like Jasmine said earlier, we were saying earlier, none of this we would never know because the case is still open, which limits the information that we have access to.
Yeah.
So the family could go on another 5. Well, thank God the Fact Check TV. We're not going to let it go on another 5 or 10 years because, like Michelle said a minute ago, we don't know what the outcome would be, but every family deserves closure.
I just
have closure for someone that you don't know where are they here, are they over there?
Right. One of my biggest goals, like our 1-year anniversary, well, it'll be longer than 1 year, but is to put together a big rally of all the families, minority families of people that are missing. To say the number or to look at the statistic does not have the same impact to having all of those people in one place to be able to see the one person missing is affecting at least 10, 15, 20 people in your family. There are so many people who are experiencing the same thing. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about the Tamaya Trotter case. A few years ago, we did a case with a family. The boyfriend actually is who reached out to us in regards to her missing. And we, boots on the ground, we went out, we passed out flyers, and just to even see the new scams that they have now that they're running on families that have people missing, where we were getting text messages, asking for ransom, saying they had her, and we're chasing these text messages and messages to find out that these are scams and the people are just trying to get you to send money. And we looked for that little girl for about a month or 2, and her body was found all of 2 houses down from her house in a sewer drain.
In the gut, yeah. Yep.
And because we had to put the pressure on the community and the people, that was the only reason that young man came forward and admitted to killing Tamaya, because I think that his conscience had him thinking that we were aware that he was up to it or he had done something. It wasn't law enforcement who did I'm not saying right. I'm not saying they didn't investigate. I am not. I don't know. I can't speak for the other side of the coin because I have never been a police officer. I've never been a detective, so I can't speak for the other side of the coin. But it was not your investigation that led to him.
Right.
It was the pressure from the community that made him go to the police department and say, okay, I killed her and here's where her body is.
The block got hot. He got really nervous because the block was hot. The
block was hot.
Literally, when you get those around you that live by you, that live there, they share the same everything with you, same grocery store, etc. When it only takes, it could be any one of us, any one of our family members, etc. If we rally around, if my neighbor had the same type of passion, enthusiasm that I do when somebody go missing, we all foot to the ground. Yeah. It's going to make whoever was involved so nervous that they have no choice but to let me put my hands up now because y'all coming too deep. They're going to be attacked. And just like you said earlier, when you retrain the community to think like that, which hopefully our effort does not go unnoticed, to where I want the community to start getting involved and not just posting Kanye and the Kardashians, but get to the point to where it's just like I would pay attention to 100 people reposting and saying the same thing and getting active around me opposed to 2. Now it just makes you a little bit more like, okay, wait a minute, something's not right. That entire family live in the blue house on the corner that's always quiet, they posting and they outside looking too. Let me get active as well, because it's going to take almost everyone around you. Michelle, when you guys were looking for your sister, those 2 co-workers, did they ever come and help you guys? Whoa.
Well,
usually they do.
Wow. Well, I was getting ready to say, and guess what? Sometimes, that's what they do.
Wow.
They keep it real close because that's how they keep their ear to what's going on, what's happening.
Jasmine and I had a situation, and
Wow.
Nato, about a year right before the pandemic shut down. Young lady, African American, what, Jasmine, 15, 16 years old?
Yeah, that's the story I just told.
Oh, you just told them? Because I'm Sansa's asking me a question. But we're walking up and down the street searching for this beautiful young lady, and she's right there.
Wow.
The whole time. Right there. But like Jasmine keeps emphasizing, until we as a people become serious about this, and like Michelle said a few minutes ago, when you know a family's going through this, put on your t-shirt. You don't have to know them. Put on your t-shirt. Go get you some balloons and go out there and stand in solidarity with them. Let them know, I don't know what you're going through, but I'm here for you.
Let me tell you something. Niqui was at a laundromat. She wasn't the only one in there. And believe me, it's been 20 years ago today. People's intuition has not changed.
Right.
Something not looking right has not changed.
Right.
Right.
And the sad part about it is, let's go back to the fact, like Michelle said, well, the area that she was in, we are so accustomed to the mind your business. That ain't got nothing to do with it. Wait a minute, that don't look right. Why is X, Y? Why are they doing that? Girl, just look away. Act like you don't see nothing. You don't want to get involved. That has been something that our culture has been so accustomed to doing. Mind your business.
Yeah.
Girl, I will call me what you want to call me. If I hear a thump, a boom, a scream, I'm like, what is that? Did you hear that? That don't look right. My fiance like, girl, you don't sit down. And I'm like, no, because I would not know what to do if I woke up tomorrow, or if I go in my bedroom and close the door and I go to step outside to take my dog out for a walk, and all of a sudden there's 1,000 police officers outside, and I'm not scared to call 911 and tell them.
I know that's right.
Something is wrong. I don't know exactly where it's coming from, and do not knock on my door. Call me if you need me.
Yes,
exactly. Don't knock on the door, but I'll tell you everything on the phone.
And that's the sad part, though, because let me bring this point up with human trafficking. Majority of the traffickers of African American girls are African American men.
Yes, they are.
The person purchasing the woman is of another race.
Right.
It's our own people.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but
it's true.
That's correct.
We were all having a conversation about the new post that's going viral about the watch the zip tie, the tissue, the this, the that.
Yeah.
I have been in this field over 15 years. Okay. And let me tell you something, that is almost like a distraction and a smoke screen, because of the trafficker is not walking and putting a bag over your face and kidnapping you. That's not what the trafficker is doing. The trafficker usually is a person that you know very well.
Yeah.
Who has taken the time to groom you, watch you, understand your moves. They know your weaknesses. They know that you don't have food in your refrigerator. They know that you don't have a solid family. Those are traffickers. And they get up under you, or they're watching our young girls on Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, and they're going, I almost cussed, sorry. And they're going, dang, she looks really lonely. Let me hit her up in her inbox and tell her she's beautiful. That's where it comes from. It's not me walking out of my door and Johnny is standing behind a brick wall somewhere waiting to throw me in a white van. And that is what everybody is under the impression that that's not the way that works. And that's what I mean by, we were just like rehearsal yesterday, right? We're all doing rehearsal. Let me play us all off. And we're like, thank you very much. And we're the fact. And we all said, stop doing that, because the only way that we're going to touch and reach our girls is by letting them know I come from the same place.
Yeah.
I come from.
I get it.
Been there.
Done that.
Done
well,
it.
I will tell you, ladies, I've enjoyed this. You guys are great.
Thank you.
You do a wonderful job. You made me feel just like I'm talking to my girlfriend.
Well, you did
Oh,
well.
thank you.
I would like to make an announcement. Me and Miss Michelle have been talking, and the Fact Check TV.
Oh, y'all been talking behind our back?
We've been talking behind you. The Jack Ellis Foundation and Fact Check TV would love to extend an invite for you to come over to the team as a missing persons advocate.
Yes.
Time to think about it if you need to, girl, but we would love to bring you on, not just because one, you could go to college, you could have a degree, you could be a minority, you could be whatever it is you want to be, but until you have experienced
lived
what
experience,
you have experienced, you got the experience. There is nothing that anybody with a degree can trump when it comes to you understanding what needs to be done to find somebody who's missing. So we would love to extend the invite.
Yay!
I would love to join you ladies because you guys are
nice.
Awesome. I really feel like I'm just sitting around my mom's kitchen table and just gossiping and.
Don't worry, Michelle, that's coming too. We're gonna be sitting around the table with you, gossiping, drinking our coffee, and talking.
It's really great to laugh and smile because I'm telling you, I have ups and downs.
Oh yeah.
And it's been like that for 21 years.
We've
been
talking
it's
about
funny that you said that because I think it was Jasmine, Desiree, and I were talking. It was either last night or today, and we were saying how we could just see your pain. It's like she needs to know where her sister is. You could just you could see you carrying that, and it's like my heart really hurts.
I mean, I've done my seizures done came back. I've done had a stroke.
Wow.
Wow.
I've been through my health has been all over the place.
We've been talking about your story and your sister's story amongst ourselves for the last couple of days, and it isn't even at the point of, well, I would do this or I would do that. It's more so like, what can we even do for her? Because I can't even, I'm a sister of 5, and I can't stand them sometimes, but I wouldn't know what to do. And I'm like, even if we could put her around us and let her share memories and pictures and tell the story and be her voice, because sometimes having someone listen, and it's no telling who else is even listening now that could remember something or heard something, and it's just it's a lighter load for you. I'm hoping that's what it has become, like a lighter load for you, because it to me it's just like I want to hug you so bad. Like I can't, like my heart.
Well, Desiree, I don't want to cut you off, but I'm very proud of you because you are the crybaby out of all.
Oh, I've been holding back. Y'all haven't seen the camera go off and on.
I went, me too, Desiree. Me too.
Well, I can make you cry. My mom died on July the 21st, 2020.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
One day before Niqi's 19th year anniversary.
Wow.
Wow.
She was trying to stay around till that day, but
she couldn't.
She went to every candlelight, every walk, she was trying to make it to another one.
I can't imagine. And that's just something else you factor in too, because it's just like now without my mom here, it's my siblings and I still campaigning and fighting and being my sister's voice, because it'll never go away. You will forever be her advocate. You will forever be her voice. I don't care if we get this small piece of small little someone that heard, saw, remember something as victory, and you're still gonna be her voice. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, I don't even know what your mom was.
I remember when my niece was 9 and she was asking me, Auntie, when is mommy gonna come home?
Oh man.
And I said, Baby, we're still looking, but I tell you what, Auntie's not giving up. I will bring your mommy home.
Yeah.
Today, she's 30 years old, and we standing right by each other, fighting this battle together.
I know that's right.
And I am so proud of her. I mean, she's the strongest woman I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she smiles when I get on the road and I start putting down Mr. Swint and the girlfriend and just no, Auntie, you can't be saying stuff like that. He's got a family and they probably miss him. And
wow,
Sweetheart, bless her heart. Lord,
so she's an awesome. She's very.
She sounds like an awesome looking.
Yeah.
Well, she sounds like she.
And I was telling her, I said I might start advocating again, and she's like, maybe I'll do it too.
Oh wow!
Oh, nice.
So I said, well, I'll let them know that she works, so it would probably be, just here and there, but
good. The more
she said that she wanted to get involved. I try to tell her, like, when I do it, it's kind of good and it's kind of like therapy for me.
Absolutely.
Because I know how the family is feeling. So it's like I can be their support and understand and try to guide them to do this, give them resources and stuff like that to help them through their way.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I tell you what, you definitely could be nothing other than the utmost strength to another family who's lost someone, and like Jasmine said, just lost their loved one or went missing just a week or 2 weeks ago, and then you come before them and say, guess what? And I've been on this same search for 21 years. And, and I'm not stopping until it's time to stop.
You know how many times I done got somebody sending me hateful messages like, why don't you leave well enough alone? And just let it go. Even family members.
Wow.
Even family members have told me to let it go.
Like,
I've been accused of, I had a family member say, what are you doing? Just trying to be famous?
No, wow.
Everyone is going to tell you to let it go until it becomes them that's dealing with it as closely as you are, until it's their sister or their brother.
Until it becomes their story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Niqui wasn't just Niqui wasn't, she's just not my sister. She's my best friend. Okay.
Right.
I slept side by side her in the same little bed when we was little girls.
Yeah.
Growing up as teenagers, talking about boys and all this, growing into women to becoming mothers, there for each other during the birth. She's more than my sister. 1.5 years apart. We're like twins. I feel her pain. I'm feeling her pain right now.
I know that's right.
And I will feel her pain until I bring her home. I don't care if she's alive, she's dead, she deserves a funeral, a proper burial. I need my sister home. Her daughter deserves to know where her mother's at. And now she's a grandmother. Wow. So this is something
the answer was on that laundry.
Maybe.
Every year at the same time, do you all do something the day that you all found out, or?
Yeah, on July 22nd, we either have candle lights, we've had block parties, we've had walks where we just walk around the block. That that's the laundromat, and that where her vehicle was found. We did a lot of things, and we always do something on that day and on her birthday.
When was her birthday?
It's January the 6th.
Well, maybe January we could try. I mean, I know it's coming up really soon, but maybe the Doc Ellis Foundation can do something for, and of course with you, because you'll be involved with us now. Maybe we can do something for her birthday,
That would be awesome.
somewhere, or like I said, I know it's close coming up because time is going by so quickly, but we might be able to put something together for her birthday.
Yeah. Well, ladies, we've been online for 1 hour and 51 minutes, and we
wow. I told you it felt like we was just a bunch of women just gossiping.
We will not let Niqi's name disappear and vanish. We will continue to push her story. We will continue to bring to the Fact Check TV updates. We are going to start knocking on the door of some police departments, and we are going to continue to advocate for missing persons. I just want to say to everybody, thank you very much for those of you who tuned in and watched the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to
those. Thank you, ladies. It was nice meeting you guys.
Nice meeting
you as well.
And for those of you who are still with us, and thank you to our moderators too.
Yes, moderators.
We will be live every Friday at 7 p.m. There will be times we may do additional shows if there are any emergency cases that we need to address. If you have any questions in regards to what the Doc Ellis Foundation does, please make sure you follow that link down at the bottom. It's docellisfoundation.com. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. For those of you who would love to donate towards the organization, you get to write it off on your taxes. So donate. And with that being said,
like, share, and post.
There you go. And we will be here, same place, same time, next Friday, 7 o'clock. Tune in.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.